I'm trying to wrap my head around everything that I just saw. I'm going to do my best to explain this thing. Let's get it.
From the bottom of my heart, you guys, thank you so much.
Thank you for watching.
This guy's channel, Jody's channel.
Jody's Corner. My favorite.
Thank you so much.
Okay, YouTube was good. It's your boy Jody Joe. I just got finished seeing the season finale of Loki, and my mind is blown and wrecked again. We went from there is no free will in episode 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I had these big, huge debates of how this show is completely disrespecting the MCU and everything that I know about it, because the Thanos snap means nothing. Thanos means nothing. The Infinity Stones mean nothing. I mean, what Tony Stark did in Endgame when he took the stones and said, "I am Iron Man," and snapped Thanos, that wasn't Tony Stark doing what he was supposed to do. That was written. That was foretold. And that was blowing my mind because it takes the heroism out of the hero. Like, if everything is preordained and already pre-written for things to happen, then we don't have heroes. We have actors playing a role based on what the ultimate writer, God, put in the script. And that's what I was having a lot of issues with. Then we got that shocking moment in episode 5 where, was it episode 5? Episode 4, where it shows that the TVA was hiding secrets, even from itself, that the freaking, the TVA agents are actual variants, and that the timekeepers themselves are robots. They don't exist. Somebody else is pulling the strings. So once I discovered that, I'm like, for sure. Awesome. So it is possible that free will exists. So it is, Tony Stark did do that because he's a hero. Thanos did matter. The Thanos snap did matter. Spider-Man, Black Panther, all of the MCU as we know it did matter. Black Widow sacrificed herself for Clint Barton because she loved him, because she wanted to. She wanted to do that out of the love she had for him, not because someone wrote that down for it to be, not part of a plan. Awesome. So that's why I was really, really waiting to see what episode 5 and what episode 6 was going to give us. Episode 5 really wasn't too great. It did show some really epic things. Episode 5 was half good, half bad. First half was kind of bad. Second half was pretty darn awesome. So it's all down to this episode 6. You're supposed to deliver. There was a lot to tell. And I got to let you guys know, I have my expectations low for this whole entire show, but also especially the season finale, because I know I've been down through this before, and a lot of you guys have too. I know some of y'all have. When you put too much expectations on something, it's hard for the product that you're hyped about to live up to that. And then when you add the fact that we've seen 5 episodes until tonight, there is too many questions, too much narrative, too much black holes, and too much unknown for us to believe and assume that episode 6 in one 40-minute episode will be able to answer all those questions. So in my mind, I came into this before watching it, understanding that I'm not going to get everything, that this will leave a lot of questions. I expected that this will be a cliffhanger, and it was. I expected that this will leave a lot more questions afterward, and it does. So I want you guys to know I'm giving this a fair shot. I'm not even going to review this thing in the sense of a tradition, because this is not even really an episode about anything happening except for the main thing. Spoilers, guys. We're going to talk spoilers now. So if you guys don't want to be spoiled about something, I believe this is the time to peel off, go watch Loki, and then come on back. This is the time. I'll give you guys 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, guys. 2, 1. All right. Kang the Conqueror is actually behind everything. Comic book movies are made to be adapted into film to appease masses. Everybody doesn't read comic books. Kevin Feige has done a really good job in the MCU of changing certain things in order to make not only comic book aficionados not be able to predict and guess how Marvel movies are going to go, but also keep it fresh for the comic book readers and the newcomers alike, so we can all enjoy content. When I was watching episode 1, from the first episode, I'm telling you guys right now, from the very first episode when they were telling us about timelines and timekeepers and the main universe of time and how the TVA is working, all along I was having people in my comment section, people messaging me on Twitter about Kang the Conqueror. Nah, Jody, all the timekeeper stuff is fake. The Guardians is fake. All of the TV, it's all fake. Kang the Conqueror. Kang the Conqueror is behind this all day. He's in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Kang the Conqueror. It's a very much like what I had to go through last season with WandaVision, how everybody named Mama kept talking about Mephisto. Mephisto's behind it. It's Mephisto. It ruined the show for me even more so. And the simple fact that I've been hearing about Kang the Conqueror since episode 1, you didn't even give this show a chance to sell you what it was pitching. People were already knowing and already expecting Kang the Conqueror. This instance, I'm disappointed in, because for so many people to know about in the comics what Kang the Conqueror does, for you to make this show and make this about him, it's like, why couldn't you pick someone else? You know, because it would keep everything fresh. People wouldn't be able to predict this entire show to the point where you're dismissing it from the first episode. Things that Loki was showing us in the first episode was deaf on people because they already knew Kang the Conqueror. And that's just not good for a show. And not even just good for the show. It's not good for movies. It's not good for fandom, period. Like, I'm sorry. I understand about, you got to make it. Films and TV shows are not supposed to be exactly like the comic books. Because if that's the case, people who read the comic books don't even need to really watch the movies because they can know what's going to happen already. You know what I mean? It's wild like that. So that was disappointing to know that Kang the Conqueror was actually behind everything and people were just calling this shit out before the show even started. It was mind-blowing, man. That's messy. It's not really a MCU trait. So I really don't think that Kang the Conqueror was the right character. You know, they put the casting out that Kang the Conqueror, that the man was cast. I covered it on Jody's Corner when the man who's playing Kang the Conqueror was cast to be in Quantumania. So I understand when, you know, this news comes out, people put 2 and 2 together, plus the comic book knowledge really ruined it for a lot of people. And this is not the ending that I would have wanted. Kang the Conqueror is not something that I would have wanted because, you know, for obvious reasons. But since it is Kang the Conqueror, let's move forward. I was riveted by the character. That brother who's playing Kang the Conqueror is fantastic. Great acting. You know, he's this aloof, jovial. All this at the end of the time exists a human with flesh and blood. Yeah, that blows me away. We got so much to talk about, guys. Listen, on Friday at 5 o'clock, we're going to have a big, huge live stream talking about this show. It's the focal point. We'll take call-ins. You guys can come and call in, give your insight. We're going to be fighting it out, talking about, was this great? How did this work? Friday at 5 p.m. right here on Jody's Corner in studio. The Just Us League is going to talk about it. You guys are invited. But for now, let's have a nice little mini discussion. Try to see exactly if I know what I'm on track and see if I'm on point here. A flesh and blood human being. Let's call him, what is it called? The one that exists, the last one that exists. I'm not calling him Kang the Conqueror because he is not Kang the Conqueror. Kang the Conqueror is who shows up at the end of this show, guys. That statue that you guys saw, that was Kang the Conqueror. We're going to go back to that in a minute. But the black guy, wizard guy, who was at the table having the discussion was a good soul. He was a good guy who wanted to keep everything in line. So in the 31st century, which is our future, but his far, 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 far past, he's eons of years old. Mind you, he's at the end of time. So everything is the past to him. So in the 31st century, 1,000 years from where we are, no, it's more than 1,000. Yeah, it's about 1,000, 21st century. Yeah, 1,000 years from where we are. A scientist, he was the very scientist who discovered that universes are not just one. There's not just one universe on layers. There's multiple. There's multiverse. There's different iterations of everything in each universe. He discovered this with science. Some science that exists in the 31st century that we don't know about. They could do magical looking stuff, obviously. So the man figures it out. Other versions of him then figure it out. He was first, and they were peaceful, mixing up. I'm about to go to the other multiverse and go get some of that juice they got. Man, that juice is fire, and I'm bringing this honey over there, and they having fun, right? Everything was peace, and But one of these or multiple of these people are not so nice. Enter Kang the Conqueror. Kang the Conqueror is one of many bad iterations of the one we saw in this episode that will best all of the other Kang the Conquerors, and the one that actually defeats and conquers all the rest of the iterations is known as Kang the Conqueror. That's who that guy in the statue was in the TVA. Once they killed the good Kang, the good guy, all of those time variants were starting to split. They were splitting before he died, but once he died, all of those different multiverses, those were the other Kangs deviating from their timeline. Because mind you, they figured out how to cross out of their multiverse, out of their own time. They were being suppressed consistently by the TVA. But now they were allowed to come free. Why were they allowed? Why couldn't he no longer see the future? Didn't really explain that well. He said, 9 seconds ago I could see, but now everything's different. I guess because he was willing to give up his power, because they mentioned a Matrix. Was it a Matrix they mentioned? I need to look into that some more. Maybe you guys can shed some light on what that Matrix event was. I think they called it a Matrix. I need to look into that some more. But he couldn't see the future anymore. So all of these other Kangs was fighting to take over, and the Conqueror is the one that won out. Think of it like when you have sex and you have a baby, and that baby comes from millions of sperm cells when you skeet up in the one you love. And it's out of the millions of sperm cells that one gets into the little egg sac and boop, 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 and gets a baby. Think of it like that. All these millions of Kang the Conquerors, potential conquerors, not all of them are conquerors. Some of them are good guys. They swim off. They don't want to go in. But maybe there's 80 of them who are trying to conquer and bad. So they're trying to... And the baddest one of them all, the most sneakiest, the most jovial, is the one that gets into that egg sac. And that's exactly who this guy is to me. That's my theory. That's what I think. I think it makes the most sense. That's who Kang the Conqueror is. He managed to take over the TVA and all of it. And now Mobius doesn't even know who the heck Loki is and stuff. Really cool. So Lady Loki decides that they want to kill this flesh and blood human being. And I'm sitting here and you got to really understand that it's really hard for me in my mind to contemplate seeing a air-breathing, flesh and blood human from Earth be able to control the universe. This blows my mind. And the reasoning for why he's able to do this blows my mind again. So this 31st century man who figured out multiverse also came across a being, a beast, an interdimensional, intergalactic time gravity anomaly that took a form of a cloud beast, the very same cloud that protects that castle. He was the first one to interact with this gravity time base, this beast that actually consumes gravity and time. He was able to get to it first, manifest it, absorb and study its power, manipulate the power, and this is what allowed him to create the TVA and to manipulate time and space and everything. It's a little far-fetched to me. A multiverse created a beast that had ultimate power, which a regular human from Earth in the 31st century was able to capture and harness. Bro, you blow my motherfucking mind. A lot of this is trash, but a lot of it is interesting. And because it's so interesting and it gets my mind moving, I like it. I kind of love it. So this is trash, but it's awesome at the same time. So this man harnesses this beast, gets ultimate power, and he's sitting at this table for eons at the end of time because he's a man who knows how to use the beast power, the cloud beast power. So he is able to not age. He don't have to breathe. He don't have to eat. I don't believe, even though he was eating that apple. It blows my mind to know that we have Thanos. We got Galactus coming. We got the Eternals coming. We got, Silver Surfer's on the way. We got the Hulk. We had Loki. We had Avengers Age of Ultron. And all of that don't mean shit because this black man right here from the 31st century wrote that to go down because he can manipulate time and space as we know it. That really blows my mind, guys. And it blows my mind in like a very trash, mediocre, elementary way. I feel like this show could have done so much better than have a simple human being at the end of it. They should have had some type of deity, some type of godly something, versus them. They're basically saying this is all the universe doing it to itself. It's science. It's all science. It's science taking away people's free will, because that Kang was taking away free will. And yes, it goes right back to square root one, my number one issue. You shouldn't take free will away. These heroes are not heroes. Thanos didn't mean nothing. None of it means anything. I'm upset. And I don't like that. I do. And neither did Mobius. We can't take, he even said in this episode, we can't take away people's free will. It's not right. Free will was talked about so much in this episode. Jody Damas, man, listen to me, bro. I'm just ahead of the curve out here, bro. This ain't to brag, but I was talking about this in episode 1. I got hate for it in episode 1 because I saw this coming, man. And here we are. Now what do? Well, we got to wait for season 2 because we didn't really get any answers. We got a whole lot of assumptions. What happened to Lady Loki? Did she kill Kang? Let's assume that she did. That's why the Kang the Conqueror is there. What happens to Lady Loki? What happens to Lady Loki? What happened to Kang? Who's the statue? Is it Kang the Conqueror? Where are the other Kangs? Why doesn't Mobius know who Loki is? Why does Loki in the TVA? What happens with free will? What's going to happen with now that Kang the Conqueror is conquering? What does Earth look like right now? Is Earth changed in the modern day? What? There are way too more questions than answers in this whole entire series. I am walking away from this series with more questions than answers. This show has failed to answer those vital questions. This show has dragged us along episode by episode to get to the finale to only say, see you for season 2. I don't really like that. I really don't. I feel like I've been duped, but I guess they're more on the lines of just appreciate the ride. And you know what? I would do that if this was a 12 episode season and you actually had some resolve. 6 episodes just is not going to cut it. You can't bring out these little short seasons of 6 40-minute episodes. These aren't even hour episodes, guys. Let's keep it a buck. These 40 to 42-minute episodes, 6 episodes is not going to do it. Feige, up the episode count. Let's do 9, 10, 11, 12 episodes and really get into the thick of this stuff. Because the way this season ended, it should have had 3 more episodes after this episode, and then that's a proper season. That's my thoughts on it. I got so much more thoughts to talk about. Let the brain juices start flowing. Put it down in the comments what you guys think. There is so much to talk about when it comes to this, man. It's just going to go on for days and days and days. I might even do another follow-up video talking about all the ramifications and all the wounds. This show opened up a whole lot of what the F. A whole lot of it. And to be honest with you guys, that's kind of exciting. And I like that, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I like it. It's stimulating discussions, man. So even though I'm here nor there with it, I'm really, this is in the middle of the trough, bro. Like, a lot of people could see this final episode, and a lot of people, I could understand, they're probably really frustrated with this final episode. Like, they're probably like, freak this freaking show. And some people are like, wow, man, this was great. I think this is one of those polarizing type of situations. One thing that you and me could both agree on right here, right now, bruh, and broette, homegirl, is this. This shit is a whole lot better than that trash WandaVision. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I'm Jody Joe, and I'm out this thing, man. Deuces.